The astounding Chinese acrobats of Peking entertain with an ancient art form in a city 3,000 years old. For centuries, their banging music and uncanny balance have dazzled and delighted Chinese audiences. Today, Chinese gymnasts are doing the same.
Hello, everyone. I'm Greg Lewis, along with Nancy Thies. We're inside the Workers' Indoor Stadium in Peking, China, for coverage of the USA-China Gymnastics Meet, the women's competition, all-around and team championships. Nancy, I'm amazed to think that it was only 11 months ago that the Chinese first competed in World Championship competition.
You're so right, Greg. And at that competition, they made it loud and clear that they were not just going to be an also-ran in major international meets. And the reason why that's important to us is because the United States has always been fighting for fourth place, trying to get into medal contention. And we now not only have to contend with the Russians, the East Germans, and the Romanians, but also the Chinese. This competition is important because it's going to give us an idea of just where we stand with the Chinese gymnasts.
Who are the top contenders, top competitors in this USA-China duel?
Well, Greg, we have some outstanding gymnasts from both teams. From China, 12-year-old, cute little girl by the name of Jiang Wei, and she just won an international invitational meet. So we have a lot to look forward in her, and the United States led by national champion Julianne McNamara.
We also have another star working with us today as our special floor reporter, the #1 man on the U.S. gymnastics team, Bart Connor. And Bart, speaking as an active competitor, what do you think about the Chinese gymnasts?
I'm looking forward to a great competition today. I know after having competed against the men, they are definitely setting the pace in world gymnastics, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the women do, and I'll be on the floor getting a closer look at it.
Well, let's go down to the floor now for the first of the 4 women's events, the vaulting, and our first competitor, Cuiling, at 18, the senior member of the Chinese team. And when the Chinese and Americans recently competed in Hartford, Connecticut, she won the all-around.
Lee is going to be attempting a very difficult vault. Tsukahara with a full twist. She hits it well.
Looked very good. Cuiling, 18, the vault is her favorite event. She showed it there.
Greg, the reason why this particular vault is so difficult, not only does she have to rotate, somersault 1 full time, but she also twists 1 full time.
And the score for Cuiling, 9.75. She sets a tough pace to start off, Nancy. Coming up now, Marcia Frederick, and she's the senior member of the American team represented here.
Greg, I take my hat off to Marcia. She's competing with a bit of the flu bug. She's had an upset stomach all day, has a temperature. It's really tough to compete under those conditions. Layout, Tsukahara, not a bad vault at all.
For someone feeling low, she should certainly receive high marks for that one. And Nancy, I heard some of the girls worried about the vaulting board here because it's different.
It is a little bit deader than what the girls are used to in the United States, but Marcia does a good job of getting off that horse, getting good height.
And Marcia's 9.55 moves her into second place. And now down on the floor, our floor reporter Bart Connor with our national champion Julianne McNamara.
Julianne, so far we've seen a lot of the Chinese in practice in the warm-up. How do you think they look so far?
Well, they look pretty good. We haven't really watched them too much. We try to just concentrate on what we're doing.
Well, we're coming into vaulting now. Are you going to do any new vaults today?
No, I'm not going to do any new vaults. I'm probably just going to do handspring front or a half out.
Of course, as a past U.S. champion in vaulting, I think that'll be just fine. Good luck to you.
First, though, Chen Yongyan, 18 years old, in the 1980 Chinese National Championships, she won the vaulting event.
And Chen will be attempting a layout Tsukahara. Good, tight body, and she nails the landing.
Looked like excellent form from Chen Yongyan, one of the many young talented gymnasts from China.
The reason why this vault is so difficult is you have to rotate with your body completely straight. Chen did a nice vault.
And she has taken over second place with a score of 9.6. Now it's up to Julianne McNamara, a little girl looking very intense here, Nancy.
And Julianne has really come on in the last year. This is one of her best events. Handspring front with the half twist. What a bundle of dynamite.
She appeared to have some air between her knees, though, Nancy. Will the judges count that off?
Well, that's a little bit of a deduction. It's easier to rotate the tighter you are in a ball, and that's why the girls have their legs tucked and apart a little bit.
And the four judges award Julianne a 9.5 for fourth position. But after the vault, the Chinese hold first and second place in the all-around and lead in the team competition. And Sports World will be back in Peking with the uneven parallel bars right after this. Greg Lewis and Nancy back in Peking.
Nancy, the Chinese starting off so well. Is there such a thing as a home court advantage in gymnastics?
Well, Greg, I think it's obvious that our girls did have problems. They've been having problems in workout the last couple of days, and that board was just a little too dead, and we saw it in the vaults, and they'll have to pick up in the next couple of events.
And one of the girls we're hoping to pick up points from is this one, Tracee Talavera. 14 years old, one of our favorites in this event, and the parallel bars, one of her favorite events.
Tracee has a new trick in the beginning of her routine. It's coming up right here. Front stalter, right into a front somersault, and she gets it. She missed it a couple times in practice. So far, she's swinging very well.
Tracee Talavera, fans enjoying her performance. Several thousand Chinese here. See the American team. Oh!
Her hands missed on the switch there. That's a major deduction.
Must interrupt your concentration. I don't see how you can come back from something like that and finish up very well.
It's very difficult, especially on the uneven bars.
Regains her composure, Tracee Talavera. Let's look at that again.
The trick that Tracee missed on bars is a unique trick that she came up with, a back stalter. And then she switches her hands and goes into a front stalter. She missed the hand change, as you can see right there, and falls down.
Tough break for Tracee Talavera. Her score, 9.10. She's in 9th overall in the women's all-around. Marcia Frederick getting set, America's first and only world champion in this event, and she is a truly aggressive competitor.
When I get in the meet, when I work out, and when I get actually in the meet and competition, I run through everything that was told to me in my brain, and I'm always thinking, I'm always fishing things in and out of my brain, and I want to do good so bad, and, you know, I exclude everyone from my mind and say, you are just, and right now you're an enemy.
There's the concentration, locking everyone out. She takes the bars.
And Marcia also has a unique move coming up in the beginning of her routine right here. Toe on reverse half. She grabs it. That move was named after her. It is called the Frederick.
She looks very confident, very smooth, better than she did on the ball.
Always fun to watch Marcia on the uneven bars. Complete control. Nice, controlled cast, good dismount.
A little bit unstable on the landing, but she certainly was great on the bars themselves. Marcia Frederick.
And Marcia proves she's a versatile gymnast. Here she goes into her soul circle, 1.5 twists, not only doing somersaults, but also twisting. Good control.
And Marcia's 9.8 moves her into the lead at 19.35 points. She was in 3rd coming into this event. And this is Sue Cheng. She needs a 9.9 to take the lead away from Marcia. She's 18 years old. She won this event when the Americans met the Chinese in Hartford, so she is tough.
Sue is a fine example of the improvement I've seen on the part of the Chinese girls. Some great originality, good control. She's swinging very well.
8th in the World Championships in the uneven parallel bars.
Little bobble on the landing, but other than that, it was a clean routine.
Now, you say clean routine. How much does the landing count off if you were so good on the bars themselves?
Greg, the landing is like the icing on the cake, so there will be a couple tenths taken off.
Sue Cheng, her score 9.6. She stays in 4th position. And this is Chen Yongyan, 18, just a 95-pounder from Guangxi province, which Nancy is producing many of these young, fine Chinese gymnasts.
And Cheng has a difficult mount, free hip circle right into a front somersault. Look at the extension in her legs.
She won this event in the 1980 Chinese National Championships, so she's very comfortable up there.
There's some originality, twisting in a handstand on the bar.
Needs a 9.8 to take the lead away from Marcia Frederick.
Nice clean routine. Talking about originality. You can see here how Chen goes right into a handstand and then does a full twist all the way around on her hand.
A 9.65 for Chen Yongyan moves her into second place. Marcia Frederick is our leader.
While the Chinese lead the Americans by 1.15 points after the uneven parallel bar in the team competition, the race for first place in the individual all-around Nancy is quite a bit tighter than that.
That's right, Greg. Only 0.3 of a point separate number 1 Marcia Frederick from number 5 Julianne McNamara, so it's a tight race.
Seems like the uneven parallel bars helped the American women get their momentum going.
It did, and I hope it's not too late. We'll have to see how they do in the balance beam.
Part of that momentum came from number 1 Marcia Frederick. Aggressiveness paid dividends for Marcia, and Bart is with her.
Well, Marcia, we know you're not feeling well, but you seem to be leading the all-around. How's that happening?
I don't know. All I do is just hit my ball and hit my bar routine. I didn't know I was leading the all-around.
Well, you're doing a very fine job. Are you feeling all right now?
No. I'm really dizzy, and, I keep throwing up.
Well, it must be helping your gymnastics, so stick to it. Good luck to you.
Oh, if sickness only made us all so productive. We'll be back with lots more gymnastics from China, but now let's go to Bob Costas at the U.S. Men's Powerlifting Championships.
The one thing they all have in common are sports facilities just like this one. The youngsters are chosen according to their body structure and their potential in the sport. They're chosen from public kindergartens to attend the district spare time schools. They work out about 2 hours a day after school, learning and perfecting the basics. Although schools like this one have existed for a long time, there has been a renewed interest on the part of the Chinese coaches since their gymnasts began competing internationally again. In 1973, I was a member of the United States team that competed against the Chinese when they came to the U.S. During that competition, the Chinese delegation literally picked our brains on training philosophy and technique. Granted, the sport of gymnastics has come a long way since 1973, but the Chinese have had a lot further to come to catch up with the international level. And in the years since, they've made a point of studying films of the top gymnasts from all over the world. They've done their homework. They are now considered one of the top 5 teams of the world. Now, these facilities may look a little grim on the inside, but believe me, the prospects for Chinese gymnastics on the world level are looking brighter every day. For example, the world champion on the uneven parallel bars, Ma Yan-hung, came from this facility. And who knows, maybe one of these little girls that we've seen here today just may be a world champion in the future.
But the future may be now. This is Jiang Wei, a sparkling Chinese jewel, only 12 years old. And it's on little girls like her that the hopes of Chinese gymnastics ride. So relaxed on the balance beam.
Greg, I think the Chinese are using this competition to give youngsters like Jiang Wei an opportunity to compete internationally and get some experience.
I always marvel at this event, Nancy. 4 feet in the air on a beam, 4 inches wide. It's really nothing more than a wooden tightrope.
And yet, after training so many hours on it, I think oftentimes gymnasts feel like they could sleep on it. Very difficult dismount, full twisting, double back somersault. Outstanding.
I didn't think a little girl had something like that in there. Just a Chinese firecracker off the beam.
And talk about talent, Greg. I have seen very few girls do this dismount. Watch this full twist into a double back somersault.
And it scores a 9.8. What a dazzler. I think everyone should remember the name Jiang Wei. And this is Chen Yongyan in second position now in the women's all-around behind America's Marcia Frederick. In 5th position, the next best American, Julianne McNamara.
Chen mounts the balance beam with control, doing some work down close to the beam. One of the requirements of a routine, not only do you have to be down close to the beam, but also doing leaps and jumps on top of the beam.
So in addition to balance, strength,
and tumbling moves. And here we go. Back walkover, back handspring, layup, back handspring. Have to have a lot of control for that trick.
You know, one of the things I've marveled at here, despite the fierceness of competition, Nancy, is the friendship between the Chinese and American teams.
I think, Greg, that friendship is indicative of the Chinese culture, but also it's somewhat pragmatic. The Chinese know how very important it is to have a strong alliance with the United States when faced with the Eastern Bloc of judges on the international gymnastics scene. You know, Greg, as I watch Chang do her routine, I see quite a contrast between her style and young Jiang Wei's. A lot of that is just because of the maturity. Chang has had more years of competition. You can see her movements are much more fluid. There's a nice tour jeté. Just a little bit more perfected.
So we get the high energy in the little ones and the grace in the older ones.
It's a good comparison. Nice dismount, double twisting back somersault. We were talking about the requirement on the balance beam. Tumbling moves are one of the requirements. Back walkover right into a back handspring, into another back walkover. And equally important on this event are the dance moves and the transitions between those tumbling runs. Here we see Chang go into a full turn, and then a tour jeté, which is a ballet move right on the balance beam.
And it's worth a 9.5 to pull her into first place from second place. The new total to beat, 28.75. And the woman who's going to try it now, Julianne McNamara. She'll need a 9.75 just to tie for first place, so she has her work cut out for her here.
Watch Julianne's mount. One-armed handstand. Didn't quite hold it as long as it should have been held. Shows her strength.
Nancy, I think the girls may still be just a little bit tired. You know, they traveled 45 hours to get here. San Francisco, Honolulu, Guam, Manila, Canton, Shanghai, Peking. They saw the whole world en route to the stadium.
And I know that was a tough schedule to have to compete after. Julianne going for back handspring, another back handspring, very smooth.
She's extremely quiet on the balance beam.
Takes a lot of control. Here comes another move that Julianne is known for. Planche. Look at the strength in the shoulders and the back. Ooh, there's a bobble. That'll cost a couple tenths.
Seems so perfect up to that point.
It's so hard up on that balance beam to block out the rest of the crowd, the fact that there are judges sitting there staring at you and deducting for every little mistake. Getting ready for a dismount.
Concentration.
Double back somersault, and she lands it.
Julianne McNamara didn't let the travel get her down.
He's talking about the move that Julianne is known for, a planche. Here we see it from another angle. Look at the strength to hold your legs up like that. Then she goes into a back hip circle around the balance beam, which is an uneven parallel bar move.
And that innovative performance gets her a 9.6 and moves her up one position. Still in the lead in the women's all-around, and yet to come, Marcia Frederick. And a lot more action from Peking and the U.S.-China women's gymnastic competition. Also, Bill Kazmaier and Doyle Kennedy already on the beam. This is Marcia Frederick. She needs a 9.45 to take her lead back from Chen Yongyan, who's already performed on the balance beam. Little wobble there, it looked like, Nancy.
That'll cost a tenth or two. You know, Greg, Marcia has always been known as a great bar worker, but she is determined to tell the world that she is an all-around gymnast. Beautiful back summy, front summy. She's trying new things on the balance beam, new things on floor exercise. I'm very impressed with her determination.
Is a dual meet like this a good place to introduce new material, Nancy?
You find that in a lot of competitions that girls will be trying new tricks, new routines, and they don't have to worry too much if they do miss. There's not that much at stake.
5'1½", 99 pounds, 17 years old. She's been at it almost full-time for 8 years. And I would think it'd be tough to keep your motivation up all that time.
It's tough when you have a lot of young little girls just biting at your heels. Marcia's done a good job. Here she goes for a dismount. Double double back somersault. Lands low there. I think her sickness is taking its toll. And Greg, having two hands touch the ground, will be a couple tenths off for that dismount and a couple more tenths for this bobble here. Amber had just got out of her cast and off her crutches about a little over 2 weeks ago.
But she's got her mobility back, nimbly playing to the crowd with the music from games people play.
Comes her last tumbling run. Holding back a little, but probably because of her ankle. Not Tracee's best routine, but that's understandable considering she just got out of her cast.
And the score for Tracee Talavera, 9.3, a good start on the road to recovery. And here she is, the little wind-up China doll, Jiang Wei. Already an animated start.
Watch this first tumbling run, Greg.
Oh, I don't know how she does it.
Double back with a full twist. Nice double twist.
She has a lot of energy.
For 12 years old, I'm really impressed, not only with her tumbling ability, but also her dancing ability. It's very difficult for youngsters to be able to acquire a style at this young age.
Style and strength. She has amazingly muscular legs for such a little tiny thing. And having fun, it looks like, too. She's in 6th position right now. Good score can move her into a top position.
Here comes her last tumbling run. Taking a breath in the corner. Double back. She lands that.
Jiang Wei, an adorable Chinese pixie.
We saw John do the same dismount off the balance beam as we see her do on the floor exercise. Going into a full twist and then a double back. You can see she's a little out of control and lands low.
But her score overall at 9.1, and she temporarily moves into 2nd place. And now, Marcia Frederick. We've gone from a little girl to a mature woman. Does it affect performances very much?
I think definitely, Greg, especially out on the floor exercise, where one of the big things is to be able to relate to the audience, to dance, to show off your style. It's difficult for young girls to be able to do that. Nice tumbling run by Marcia.
Stay in contention for one of the top places. She needs to score at least a 9.7. That's a big bill to fill.
That'll be tough, but her first tumbling run was really dynamite. Nice double back.
Connecting on those big somersaults. And a very different approach to the music.
You're talking about the importance of maturity. Marcia's had this music for a couple of years now, and the longer you have it, the more familiar you are with the music.
Now, even though she is sick.
She's a real trooper. Here comes her last tumbling run. For a double full. Oh, landed low.
Ooh, she looks like she's hurt that ankle.
Problem with her ankle. Marcia's had chronic ankle problems over the years, and it looks like she may have aggravated them. The tumbling run was a double full. This trick can easily aggravate those ankles, and we see she lands low there.
Marcia's score at 9.2, and at least for the moment, that gives her the lead, but it'll be tough to hold on to. Bart Connor is going down to her now to find out what's happened, and we'll have his report when we come back. But now let's go to Bob Costas at the U.S. Men's Powerlifting Championships.
The super heavies come down the stretch in Madison.
Lewis with Nancy Thies Connor at Workers Indoor Stadium, Peking, China. In the floor exercise now, leads Cuiling, third in the women's all-around at this point. When we left you, Marcia Frederick had just injured an ankle. Bart Connor's got a report.
Greg, I think she's going to be okay. You know, Marcia's had trouble with her ankles for a long time, and that scared her a little bit when she landed a little bit low, and I'm sure it was painful, but she's all right.
Greg, while we were gone, I was able to talk to Marcia's coach and found out that she did feel a little dizzy before going into the last tumbling run. I'm sure that had to do with her sickness. I think everything will be okay with a little bit of rest. A smooth routine by Li Cuiling.
And she's the new leader with a score of 9.45, and the Americans know how important it is now for Julianne McNamara to have a spectacular performance. And this is Julianne.
Julianne is a dynamic tumbler. Watch this first run. Double back in a pike position, good height.
Hits it well, and I know she was concerned about this floor. Again, a strange floor. Doesn't seem to be affecting her.
Not at all. Very dramatic music. Punch, front somersault. Clean, high, double full.
Pressure not getting to her. Julianne McNamara doing everything she needs to.
Julianne is a fierce competitor.
Now in fourth, a 9.55 will give her the lead.
Here comes the last tumbling run. Another double full, very tight body. Excellent routine.
She comes through, and we await the score.
Greg, I said Julianne was a dynamic tumbler. Watch how high she is. Completely rotated, lands very high, almost too much rotation.
And the score, 9.65, and Julianne McNamara is the new leader. Congratulations from both sides. China's Chen Yongyan is now the only person who can take the title from Julianne. And we'll be back for Cheng's performance. Yongyan, the last woman with a chance to take the title away from Julianne McNamara. Julianne can only sit on the sidelines now and watch. Cheng needs a 9.55.
Double back somersault. Look at that height. Greg, I'm very impressed with Cheng's extension in her legs. She has beautiful long legs, good flexibility.
One of the things I've noticed about this floor exercise, Nancy, is the orchestration. I always just recall piano music.
Greg, about a year and a half ago, they decided to allow more than one instrument. And since then, what's happened is everybody's gone to orchestration. Certainly makes the performances much more dramatic.
And this is Chen Yongyan making the most of her orchestration. 9.55 must be in the back of her mind.
Comes the last tumbling run. Double full. Again, good height. Very impressed with this tumbling technique. Beautiful routine.
Chen Yongyan, and will it be enough?
Greg, we are talking about tumbling technique. This is an interesting tumbling run. A front somersault into a round-off side aerial, which is more typical of men's floor X routines.
And Cheng's score, a 9.5. Not enough to give her sole ownership of first place. The final standings, Julianne McNamara of the United States and Chen Yongyan of China tied for first. In third,
Frederick up and around now, gets 5th place. In the team competition, the Chinese were formidable.
Greg, Julianne seems to be confused up there. Oh, she didn't know they tied.
Nancy, from what we saw here today, are the Chinese really that much better than the Americans?